and start the meeting. And would you please take the roll, Jen?
Mrs. Bohan,
Here.
Mr. Conrady,
Here.
Dr. Schulman,
Here.
Ms. Gorst,
Here.
Mrs. Steiner,
Here.
Mr. Yekitis,
Here.
Mr. Need,
Here.
And then as I ask everyone to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, I would ask that a birthday person, Megan Holstead, would lead us in the pledge. Okay. The first item on our agenda is approval of the minutes from the regular meeting held on February 8th of 2023. What is your desire regarding that?
Move to approve.
Thank you. Second. Thank you. And any questions or comments about those minutes? Then we'll go ahead and take a roll.
Mr. Conrady,
Abstain.
Dr. Schulman,
Yes.
Ms. Gorst,
Yes.
Mrs. Steiner,
Yes.
Mr. Yekitis,
Yes.
Mr. Need,
Yes.
Mrs. Bohan.
Yes. And next, approval of the accounts for the month of February. What is the board's desire regarding those?
So moved.
To approve. Okay, so motion to approve. And any comments, questions regarding the accounts?
I noticed that one of our accounts indicates that we have a negative balance, but at the end it indicates we have a positive balance. What's the negative balance for?
Can you tell me which report and which page you're referring to?
It would be the general fund.
Which of the attachments, Kathy?
It's in the bank reconciliation.
Yeah.
And Jackie, I know that you work on developing this report. I think what Kathy's referring to is the first line at the top of the general ledger under Fund 10 General Fund, and the amount is in parentheses. Is that what you're referring to, Kathy?
Correct. Does that mean it's a negative?
We don't have negative in our accounts. I think that that's probably the expenditures for this period of time, and that's why it's a negative number. Does that sound accurate, Jackie, or not in your head? Yeah. So this ledger report is just a single summary page that gives an overview of what is found within the expenditures in the greater detailed reports that are the other attachments for the board.
And this is the activity for the month.
Correct.
It's not.
Right. And Fund 10 General Fund is where most of our dollars are found and expenditures come from. So that's what that's referring to, is the amount of expenditures that have gone out of the account over the course of the month.
Anything else?
And overall, the account balance is positive.
Seeing no other questions, we'll go ahead and take a roll.
Dr. Schulman,
Yes.
Ms. Gorst,
Abstain.
Mrs. Steiner,
Yes.
Mr. Yekitis,
Yes.
Mr. Need,
Yes.
Mrs. Bohan,
Yes.
Mr. Conrady.
Yes.
Then we will move on to district recognitions, and I see we have
We have a big night for recognitions, that's for sure. We have a bunch of our student athletes and family members here. Mr. Delaney, our athletic director, is going to come forward to lead off the announcements of our recognitions for our most recent state qualifier participants here in the athletic programs. I'm going to kick off with gymnastics.
So tonight we have two groups. One, our gymnastics program is represented by Ellie Jensen. She's a 4-time state qualifier in gymnastics, and she's wrapping up her senior year. And Coach Winch is going to talk about her, and then our wrestling program, who brought some hardware home this last weekend, is going to come up in a minute. But one of the things that I want to just talk about quickly with our gymnastics and wrestling programs, our coaches came up with some adjectives that we talk about, we want our programs to stand for, and one of them was development, and one of them was unity. Coach C talked a lot about unity on Saturday night when we came home at 9 o'clock and how they all stuck together, but one of the things that Coach Winch might talk about is that it takes a lot of development and it takes a lot of our community to put good programs together when they get to the high school. So with that, I know Ellie's been in gymnastics probably since she was really little, but with that, I'll turn it over to Coach Winch.
First of all, I just have to say this is really an honor to be able to be here, and also like just speak on behalf of Ellie, who I have had the pleasure of working with for many years since they've moved to Wisconsin. And I have to say, at the beginning, we did not know if we would be enough for her because she had started prior to that. But because of who she is as a person and as an athlete and the family she has supporting her, she definitely showed that she had the determination and she just needed us to support her as well and also give her a really great facility and some coaching from Coach Allie Sindel. She just recently got married, so that helped her a lot as well. And I think Allie's success has really just been partially because of who she is as a person and as an athlete, and that has led to a lot of accomplishments. Coach Allie sent me some things just to make sure I speak well about them and correctly. So 2022 GNC All-Around Champ and Athlete of the Year, 3-time state qualifier, 2023 sectional runner-up on bars, 2022-2023 GNC regular season undefeated all-around athletic honors. And then in addition to that, she is also up for the WIA Athletic Scholarship Award as well, which is really a wonderful thing to be nominated for. 2 weeks before Ellie was supposed to compete at sectionals, she was working very hard and determined to get a floor pass. Was not going well. She said she will do it, and she injured her ankle. However, through tears, support, really taking the time to heal, she was ready for sectionals, and we took it event by event on whether or not she would continue to compete. Bars was the last event Marshfield was on, and she did amazing and then earned the trip to state. So she was also the captain of the gymnastics team this year, which speaks again to her amazing character. She has been there to support her teammates. She's demonstrated what it takes to be a good teammate, a good athlete, and also just an overall good person. I've also gotten to join Ellie at Flip Fest Gymnastics Camp down in Tennessee a couple years in a row, and that's been an amazing experience. And the one thing that we do at Flip Fest is we have amazing gymnastics practices, and we're with amazing coaches and Olympians, but the goal of the camp is to make a better person, to walk out a better person. And she has definitely done that every year, and it's been wonderful to be around her. So I hope I'm not too long-winded here, but she definitely deserves this. And again, so happy for her to fight through the injury, to work hard at healing so that she was ready. At conference, she wasn't able to compete because of injury, but she supported her teammates and did what she needed to do as a team captain to support them, knowing she could not be part of the team. And we won conference again, even though Ellie was not able to be part of that team score. So congratulations, well deserved.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
At this time, we bring our wrestling program up. And I'll turn the microphone over to Coach C, but as they're coming up, this group accomplished a lot. They had 9 state qualifiers. 6 of our wrestlers made the medal stand, so that's first through 6th place. And then we got to bring home that trophy over there, which we haven't had a new trophy in our trophy case since 2004. So with that, I'll turn that over.
All right, just quickly, I'll let these wrestlers say their name and their grade quickly.
Hoyt Laskowski, senior.
John Sternice, freshman.
Jace Kelloffer, junior. Caleb Denny, sophomore. Evan Graceback, and I'm a sophomore. Mason Seidel, junior. Graydon Rhodey, sophomore. Garrett Willowite, senior. James Clements, junior. Dylan Hagan, sophomore. Dalton Hagan, sophomore. Brett Borlo, sophomore.
Ava Gardner, sophomore.
Adrian Kruger, senior.
Joey Gianowski, freshman.
Keaton Lindwood, sophomore. Steve Blaskowski, coach, senior. Justin Sternois, coach. Mitch Hurdle, coach.
All right, thank you guys. I kind of gave some thank yous when the team got home Saturday night after the final. Obviously, didn't finish the way we wanted to, but a lot of positives to take away from this year. Obviously, Mr. Delaney mentioned 9 individual state qualifiers that ties a program record, set a program record with 6 state medalists. Our highest before was 4. And obviously qualified for the team state finals, so a great way to finish out this season. Being able to hang a banner in the field house for the first time since 2004 is a great accomplishment for these guys, and obviously a good way to end a lot of these seniors' careers with some hard work and getting rewarded for it. I thanked a couple groups, but I'll kind of touch on those again today. Thanking the community and fans that came out to all of our duels this year, and down at Team State, it is really powerful in that field house down there when you have a large fan base. These guys feed off that energy, and it creates a really cool environment that they can compete in. None of this would be possible without a really strong and successful youth and middle school program. So it starts off when these kids are young, and obviously we have kids that join in high school as well, but getting them to fall in love with the sport when they're young and growing, just learning that it's not all about results and enjoying the process, becoming a better man and woman as you grow older, in the struggles that wrestling provides you. So just really appreciate all the youth and middle school coaches and the program have done for us. Thank you to the parents for trusting us to lead your kids down the right path. They go through a lot of struggles and experiences that wrestling provides them that are going to mold them into better people as they go on throughout their lives. So appreciate the parents. Thank you to the school administration for all the support. Having a school and district as supportive as we have, that is willing to work around our athletes' busy schedules, it makes all the difference for these guys to be able to compete at a high level. 3 years in a row, 5 out of the last 6 seasons we've been at the Team State Tournament. The torch was passed from the 2019 seniors onto this group of 8 seniors. They did a great job over these last 4 years, leading the way and really fostering a good group of freshmen, sophomores, juniors this year so they can lead on and hopefully have more success. The standard has been set after the past several seasons for Marshfield Wrestling, and we don't plan on going anywhere. So thank you all for being here tonight.
Thank you to all of you, and you did finish well as individuals and as a team and as coaches. Thank you.
Thank you, Cody, and especially for that ending. We're looking forward to seeing you guys back, so keep it going. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will move on to communications from the public. And just as a reminder, the board values all comments and will respectfully consider this input in decision-making. However, it is not the intent of the public comment portion of the meeting for the board to enter into a debate or discussion of an issue. Comments in regard to personnel matters are not allowed. Information presented cannot result in immediate action due to open meetings law, but could precipitate a future agenda item. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes, and our secretary, Jenny Hegg, will keep track of that and let you know at the 2-minute mark. 2.5-minute mark when you have 30 seconds left. And having said that, we do have a couple. Are there any others?
I didn't see any others.
Okay, we have 2. And first, Mike O'Reilly.
All right. First, let's give another round of applause for the wrestling team and the gymnastics team. Yeah, couldn't get it up. I'm here to comment on policy issues that have once again presented themselves involving a current board member running for re-election. Recently, this board member made some various off-color comments about the female candidates running against him. At the time he made these comments on Facebook, he had never even met these ladies. He called them crazies, uneducated, screamers, and far right. This type of behavior is not becoming of an elected official. As if this wasn't enough, he even added into that another elected official currently on this school board in his tirade, saying she is really costing the district. These type of juvenile outbursts cannot be tolerated, and per your own policy 0144.5, Board Member Code of Conduct referencing general expectations of all board members. He is violating your own policy sections D, F, and H. Why has no enforcement been taken toward this individual per your enforcement section of this same policy? This is not the first time this board has tolerated unacceptable behavior either. Just less than a year before this incident, I was personally attacked by another incumbent candidate and now acting school board member while I was out doing constitutionally protected active canvassing. This current board was charged, or this current board member was charged with disorderly conduct, but was given a deferred prosecution pending his ability to control his emotions for 6 months. My question to this board are, when will you start holding these rogue board members accountable for their actions? When will you begin showing respect for those people that you're supposed to be representing? When will you begin enforcing policy on board members with the same standards you do with the children in this district? When will you start taking your elected position seriously enough to be considered respectable to the public? From what I have seen, it won't be anytime soon. So I sure hope that the 2 current incumbents are replaced on April 4th. It's time for accountability and transparency from this board, and the ladies running these seats will promise to deliver. Thank you.
The second one is Jeff Shield.
So, I'd like to comment on, address some of the numbers regarding this referendum that I feel just really haven't shown up in the Hub City Times. I know that we all know that the state of Wisconsin taxes are high, and I have a publication in my hand that kind of gives us a little bit of an insight into what the rest of the state of Wisconsin is like. And what I found was that the Marshfield taxpayers are paying between 31 and 56% more than the median tax in the state of Wisconsin. And I get those 2 figures using one, our assessed valuation, which I know is low. The other figure is from the estimated fair market value. So no matter how I slice this, it looks to me like our taxes, Wisconsin's taxes are high and Marshfield's taxes are very high. My other question, I guess, is finance-wise. When I look at this, a year and a half ago or so, I was looking at maybe building a house. I said interest rates were 3%. They're now about 7%. I said, just doesn't make sense to me. And I guess I hope that people are taking this into account. If my calculator is working right, I believe for about every 1% of interest rate that we're going to pay on this loan, if it's 20 years and $100 million, it's going to be about $11 million per percentage point. And that to me is a lot of money. 3%, 11 million, 5%, 55 million. It's all taxpayer dollars to me. You throw in the fact that right now material costs are high, labor costs are high, and I just kind of wonder if we're getting the best bang for our buck by proceeding with this large of a project at this point in time. So I have another piece of information that comes from the book. It's called the Book of Lists for North Central Wisconsin. Kind of includes stuff about our school district, our city, and our county. And in a nutshell, what it's told me, and basically it includes the school districts that are Wausau, Everest, Marshfield, Stevens Point, Wisconsin Rapids. I said in what that publication, I have it right here, if you can see the numbers, indicates that Marshfield is the most generous school district from a pay standpoint and from a benefit standpoint. And while that's well and good, I guess the problem or the question I have is, we are the smallest school district in that entire bunch by thousands of students. And so that's, I guess, raises a concern to me. Another thing in that publication tells us, which something you all know, is that the clinic is our biggest employer, and we're glad for the jobs. But if you all, most of you probably know, the clinic is looking to kind of cut back on their footprint as far as a taxpayer. And if they cut back, we're going to pay more taxes. And the last point I have is that we're going to be looking at a decrease in population. I've got figures there that show that Wood County is going down. Our competitors, or Marathon County, Portage County, their populations are going up. And that means more taxpayers.
I did hear the 3-minute bell a little while ago, but
Thanks for your time. I've got the information if you would like to fact check me.
Thank you, Jeff.
we will move on to announcements.
No additional announcements. Yeah, superintendent's report. So just a few items I'd like to touch upon to begin with. This week currently is National School Breakfast Week. So with the outstanding school lunch program that we have, I always like to be able to recognize our hot lunch staff here in the district and speak to the fact that this is an important time to give them strong recognition because of the great school breakfast program that we have and how important a role it plays in contributing to the health, well-being, and positive experiences for our students in our schools. Among other benefits, students who eat a nutritious, well-balanced school breakfast display better classroom attentiveness, attain higher academic achievement, exhibit better overall health. So in addition, we would like to extend a great thanks and appreciation to our school staff in the food service department in all of our school buildings for their hard work and dedication to provide our students an excellent school lunch program here in Marshfield. And then beyond that, I just want to take a quick moment to remind parents that we have a professional development day this Friday. So it's a non-student contact day this Friday, March 10th. And then finally, spring break is right around the corner. It's hard to believe that that's about 2.5 weeks away, the last full week of March 27th through the 31st, which marks the end of our third quarter. The Friday before that, yeah, just want to recognize that it's coming up and wish everyone when we hit there a happy spring break week. Thank you.
And we will move on to our acceptance of gifts, and we have quite a few. We're blessed with 10 children's books valued at $40 from the Lions Club, Marshfield Lions Club, $1,250 for elementary art programs from Coffee Cabin, so that's $250 for each elementary. Washington Elementary, $10 to cover extra funds for students who may need snacks at the roller rink field trip. Lincoln Elementary, classroom snacks valued at $50 from Cornerstone Community Church. Madison Elementary, $100 from the PTO for 6th grade track day. And then at Madison, Washington, and Nasonville, winter clothing items valued at $1,500 from Boson Company. And for high school athletics, girls track and field program, $250 from Marshfield Convention and Visitors Bureau. And then we have a number of donations to the high school music program. $30 from Jason and Natasha Tompkins, $25 from Rose Peters, $25 from Claudia Senholz, $35 from Stacy DeJarlis, $40 from Brad and Elizabeth Hilbeling, $50 from Jennifer Michaels, $100 from Nina Nataki, $100 from Kenton Schindler, $20 from Kelly McEwen, $20 from Lauren Polka, $50 from Libby Condonata. I said that right? Good. And $30 from Christine Siegel, and $25 from Elizabeth Sotheby. And what is your desire regarding the gifts?
Move to approve with great thanks.
Second.
Okay, thank you. And again, we're good with those. Any questions or comments? Then we'll go ahead and take a vote.
Ms. Gorst?
Yes.
Mrs. Steiner?
Yes.
Mr. Yekitis?
Yes.
Mr. Neve?
Yes.
Mrs. Bohan?
Yes.
Mr. Conrady?
Yes.
Dr. Schulman?
Yes.
I'll move on to the Facility, Safety, and Transportation Committee update. Mr. Conrad.
All right, we did meet. The first part of our meeting was facility referendum update. Pretty much we spoke about Braden Associates, and as you can see the posters back here, they worked with administration to put them together. And also, Hub City Times will be publishing a 5-part series in their weekly print throughout the month of March. Community information sessions are scheduled. We have one on March 6th, and for everybody here, write this down, March 20th at 6 p.m. The session will be held in the Marshfield High School Library. I was there on March 6th, and I found some people that were absolutely voting no on the referendum. We walked out of there after that, they thanked me, and they said they will be voting yes. So it was quite the surprise to myself. So it was great. And very good job, Ryan, on putting on the session and allowing people to speak. Thank you. So now I'm going to move on to the Marshfield Outdoor Learning Sanctuary. Jane Wagner had come in, and this thing was incredible. What they had done up by the high school in the back, and putting a walking path through there, and there's ponds in there, and they're working on, and their upkeep. They're talking about cleaning out some of the ponds to make sure they stay vibrant, and they talked about all the vegetation that they have in there, and they worked with the school and identifying each piece of vegetation that's growing in there. It was just phenomenal to listen to Jane talk to us. If you get a chance, go down there and take a hike through it. It is unbelievable. So, you have anything to add to that, Kathy? You was in that meeting. I thought Jane did one heck of a job.
She did a wonderful job, and the nice thing about it is it's financed by an outside group, but it provides learning opportunities for our students in various classes.
Yeah, I think that's a good addition, Kathy, that Jane talked about how many of our students and our staff at the high school are directly involved. I'm thinking Aaron Schroeder's construction class, and Mark Z and Tim Haig with their ag department and our science courses as well. That was really nice to have her feature that component as well, that involvement.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I knew about it, but I never was this in depth into it. Got real excited that she went on. All right, then we talked about snow plowing services. We've had some new arrangements with multiple contractors. It's been challenging and more costly than prior years. The current agreement has been continually evaluated, leading to some adjustments that will be implemented for next year. So some of those adjustments we're talking would be cleaning the sidewalks. None of these guys that plowing snow want to clean the sidewalks. So we'll probably be looking at something for that, so we can clean the sidewalks and take care of all of that. So that's what I have. Oh, sorry. We had an update list on the summer projects. That was reviewed and discussed as it wasn't financed today. So we went through all the summer projects as they may come. And some of it's with roofs, repiping and the plumbing, and odds and ends like that, the parking lots, so that's where we're at there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any questions for Mr. Conrady or the committee? Okay, then we will move on to a curriculum and instruction report on this. We had on February 22nd, and the first thing, and you will see on the agenda that you have the grades 7 to 12 technology education curriculum. And we looked at that, and it is there for the whole board to read for first reading. It will come up for vote at our next meeting, so that gives you time to submit any questions or anything to committee members or Kim Zia. Next, we had an update on an additional online safety service for students. So it's called Gaggle. It's a safety management system that can alert someone to just pay attention to something that's online and review it to see if it needs any action or attention or not. So it's to increase online safety for our students. And we will move forward with that contracted service for the spring of 2023 and the 23-24 school year. So we'll get a report back in a year on how that is going. And if anyone wants information about that, I did bring a handout. Next, we looked at the high school grading scale update, and the goal is to be proactive and honor students' work based on the rigor of the course. The change won't negatively impact any students. It's just a minor adjustment in the way the GPA is calculated, and it will be implemented by class beginning with next year's freshman class. So it doesn't change the GPA of anyone that's already in school. It just starts fresh with next year's freshman class. And the committee consented to these adjustments because they are just minor adjustments being implemented without formal board action. Are there any questions or comments about any of that, or any additions?
I just had a quick question about the Gaggle safety management. That is something that all students' devices will have for oversight?
It operates over the network, so it covers all of the district devices, including computers that the students may be on in schools. Obviously, their iPads as well.
That's 7 through 12.
And I think one of the important points is this is a program that's being paid out with funds from a different program that was canceled or dropped. So it's not an impact on the budget.
That's good to know.
Anything else? Okay, then move on. Next is Finance Committee, and I will defer to Dr. Shaw.
Finance Committee had a pretty busy meeting tonight. It started out with, it's apparently time of year for departmental budget proposals, so we heard from Aaron Haig, who gave us some budget presentation for facilities, buildings, and grounds. Summer projects were reviewed here as at facilities. Very similar items were on the list. Recommendations that were made, it's always going to be open to adjustment depending on referendum results maybe. Some projects are being finished off from last year, much more are going to hopefully get done this summer. Then we heard from Mike Drevlo at the IT budget proposal. Really looking over the line items, some are a little bit more, some are a little bit less. really pretty similar budget, bottom line in the last 3 years. CISA contracts that's an action item, so I'll come back to those. We heard an update about athletic training services. There's going to need to be a change in agreement with the services provided currently through MCHS with the athletic trainers. They're now starting to look for a little bit of cost sharing, or a lot of cost sharing. Fair market value. We just found out about this. It's going to go to further discussions, both with our school district and other districts in the area who also receive services from the athletic training department at Marshall Clinic. So we're still working through that. We're going to ask, about anything that's negotiable, and look at other options as well to maintain athletic training services for our athletes. And on the cost sharing theme, the city is also undergoing their own city budget challenges this year, and have come forward looking at possibly coming up with a cost share arrangement for our school resource officers. So there will be ongoing discussions about what that will look like going into next fiscal year. Theirs or ours or somewhere in between. We got a quick budget update for 23-24. There's not a lot of new information coming from the state currently. We are actively scrutinizing positions, looking to consolidate FTE to cut costs as we go forward. We can think we're getting something from the state and be surprised unhappily when it comes to fall. So the school and department level budgets are all getting looked at closely to try and hit the no surprises button at the end of the year. We reviewed the variance report of how expenditures are going so far this year. Everything's on track. The salary and benefit costs are lagging a little bit behind last year, but that's mostly because it's a 27 pay period year, not a 26 pay period year. So there's an extra pay period that's being accounted for. So we do have on the agenda voting on the CISA contracts. We have a contract with CISA 10, which is a service contract to work on. They help us with E-rates. E-rate, which is, they do a lot of the filing. It's mostly a consultation fee. They do filing to help us recoup some money back for our IT services using E-rate. It's $5,250 a year for this contract. It saves a lot of local effort and energy and helps us get a lot more reimbursements than maybe we could do if we did it on our own. The CISA 5 contract is the ongoing recurring contract covering our special ed services by and large. They have enough of the service providers that and this budget flexes up and down each year depending on the students' IEPs and their individual needs. Things like PT and OT, visual and hearing impaired, teaching and support for individual students. It's projected to be just shy of about a $2,000 increase this year over last year due to the number of students with IEP needs and also the increase in demand for the hours and probably cost on the per unit basis. Do we want to do them separately, or do I bring them together for approval?
Does everyone want us to do them separately? Let me ask that question first. I'm sorry.
It's listed as one agenda item.
Okay.
It's one. Okay,
Yeah.
that's one agenda. So on behalf of the Finance Committee, I'm bringing forward the CISA 10 contract and the CISA 5 contract for approval.
Okay, so we have a motion on behalf of the committee to approve the CISA 10 and the CISA 5 contracts. Any questions for Karen or the committee?
Is there any indication of what amount we recoup or that CISA 10 helps us recoup? And where it's being applied in our budget?
I didn't hear the last part that you're
Where
asking
it's being
about.
applied to the budget. Any of the money that we recoup.
We're talking about E-rate, correct?
E-rate, whatever.
It's in the hundreds of thousands of dollars a year typically. Last year was over $300,000. It is on that budget sheet accounted for on that budget. It has a rate, and it's listed out as a rate reimbursement.
Okay, so those are reimbursements to us?
Correct.
Okay, thank you for that information.
Any other questions? And we'll go ahead and take a vote.
I'm sorry.
We'll go ahead and take a
All right.
vote.
Mrs. Steiner?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Giacchides?
Yes.
Mr. Neve?
Yes.
Mrs. Bohan?
Yes.
Mr. Conrady?
Yes.
Dr. Schulman?
Yes,
Ms. Gorst?
Yes.
and that's it for finance.
Thank you. Any other questions for Dr. Schulman regarding the report? Okay, we will move on to employee relations. Mr. Yukatis.
We will have an action item coming before the board tonight on behalf of our committee. First of all, minutes. The action item actually deals with a proposed food service floater position. That would be a new position for the district. The individual will be utilized to cover absences in various positions within the area of food service when a substitute is not available. Sustainability of the floater position will be contingent on funds generated by the department. The committee consented to move the term forward for approval at this meeting. Also, there was a discussion presented, information presented by Athletic Director Delaney regarding the co-curricular activities, and those will come back to our committee and to the board at a future time. It was more informational, just sort of a first look at those. Let's go back to the actual action item. On behalf of our committee, I ask for the approval of the proposed food service floater position.
Okay, so we have a motion on behalf of committee to approve a new position called food service floater. And any questions regarding that new position?
I have just one question. We discussed the funding that is, will this be sort of zero impact as there will be increased revenue generated through the food services? Is that what I understand?
Well, the food service program generates revenue.
It does.
And that's what's justifying adding the position is
Okay. Is it
that
they're
they
generating?
will cover the cost through revenue generated through food sales.
Okay, okay. I was questioning whether we were pushing her to sell more milk or, you know, something.
Our food service program has had a lot of success in the last couple of years and built up a very healthy fund balance.
Okay, perfect. That's good to know. Thank you.
So we'll continue to monitor that and make sure that it stays at a healthy level to be able to justify keeping the position.
Great.
Anything else?
It was my understanding from, I was at that meeting and from the discussion that was held there that this individual is primarily covering absences of people because of sickness or if you lose a staff member, they've got somebody that they can move up quickly and put them into a position. And that was the rationale behind this, is that correct?
Correct. And
As presented, yes.
And that person would also have familiarity with all of those job positions, as opposed to bringing in someone who hadn't worked those areas before, so they would kind of be able to get right in there and get to work.
So in other words, a much less time would be involved in training them that's not going to be productive.
I would say so. That person is actually the person has already been working in a substitute capacity, so there would not be, as far as I'm aware, an awful lot of cross-training that actually needs to be done. In fact, that person has even helped with the actual food services director at times when there has been some shortage of time. So very needed position, very helpful position all the way across the board regarding food service.
And that way they don't have to be calling them every day, et cetera. It's someone
Right.
that's actually able to fit in
Yeah,
as
this
needed.
is not a substitute then. This is a person who's hired by the district who will come in and perform the duties as needed by contract.
Thank you.
Good.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. Then we will go ahead and take a roll.
Mr. Yekitis?
Yes.
Mr. Neve?
Yes.
Mrs. Bohan?
Yes.
Mr. Conrady?
Yes.
Dr. Schulman?
Yes.
Ms. Gorst?
Yes.
Mrs. Steiner?
Yes.
We also have two other items on our agenda for tonight, but they are not action items. We have the first readings coming up right now. The first reading of the professional staff handbook and the administrative staff handbook as well. Those are items C and D under employee relations. No action on that right now, but those documents are available for board members to review. That's it.
Okay. Any other questions? Mr. Yekitis? Okay. We will move on to to policy and legislation. Mrs. Steiner.
So for those of you who follow our agendas, this was a rare one. It happens once a year that we don't have any policy, just handbooks. It's the handbooks, and we review them every year at this time, just as employee relations does with the professional and staff handbook. These are the student and family handbooks. So we have reviewed 4 of them, and those are once again up for first reading. We did a very thorough discussion of and full review in committee, but we are going to be continuing to work on those. And if any of the board members have any questions, to bring those up to us. The high school handbook had the most changes, and we went through those with great detail. And particularly Karen and I go through even more detail to make sure that the language is grammatical and aligned, and all the commas and punctuation points are there. So our aim is to make the policy, handbooks aligned with any policy changes that we've made over the year, and then also to just continuously make sure that these handbooks are as accessible and understandable and user-friendly. We try our best to make this something that is easier to find information for rather than harder to find information. So we did a few of those changes in terms of the table of contents and the order of things. But those will be, there's no action items from the policy committee. We are going to be continuing with our second reading, and then it will come for board action at our next meeting.
Any other questions? Well, just a reminder, we have a lot of homework between the curriculum that is up for first reading and the two staff handbooks and 4 student handbooks. So if anyone has anything to bring up, please take it to those committees. And we will move on to approval of retirements. It's retirement season.
Okay, as an individual board member, and I'll need a second then, I will move to approve. It's amazing to see some of these names of people that I've worked with for many, many years. Outstanding personnel. Approval of retirements of Janine Deach, teacher of business education at the high school, Dawn Sidelska, a teacher of English at the high school, and also Scott Scheuer, teacher of physical education at the high school. So I move for the approval as an individual board member of these retirements.
Second.
Thank you. We have a second. And I know we were commenting earlier that that's 80 to 90 years of experience between those 3.
It's amazing.
Any questions or comments? And we'll go ahead and
Mr. Neve?
Yes.
Mrs. Bohan?
yes.
Mr. Conrady?
Yes.
Dr. Schulman?
Yes.
Ms. Gorst?
Yes.
Mrs. Steiner?
Yes, with great thanks.
Mr. Yekitis?
Yes. Moving on to the next item, approval of resignations. We have one resignation from Paul Downs, who is a teacher of 6th grade at Lincoln School. By the way, these retirements and what did I say, teacher of 6th grade at Lincoln School, did I say that correctly? That will be effective, as well as the retirements at the end of the school year, which would be basically June 30th by contract. So again, I will make that motion as an individual board member. Will need a second.
Second. Thank you. So we have a motion and a second to approve the resignation. Mitch, any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and take the roll.
Mrs. Bohan?
Yes.
Mr. Conrady?
Yes.
Dr. Schulman?
Yes.
Ms. Gorst?
Yes.
Mrs. Steiner?
Yes.
Mr. Yekitis?
Yes.
Mr. Neve?
Yes.
And
And
there are no persons up for approval for employment of new personnel. So I'm finished with
thank
the
you.
personnel report.
Thank you. Then we will move on to approval of various travel items for our students. And the first is the travel to Stevens Point for FFA EDGE Leadership Conference this month. And that would be the 24th and 25th of March. And so that's Future Farmers of America. Any questions or?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay. And any questions regarding that one?
I think we saw this before, it's just coming back because the conference agenda is finally here.
Then we'll go ahead and take a roll on that.
Mr. Conrady?
Yes.
Dr. Schulman?
Yes.
Ms. Gorst?
Yes.
Mrs. Steiner?
Yes.
Mr. Yekitis?
Yes.
Mr. Neve?
Yes.
Mrs. Bohan?
Yes. And the next one is approval of travel to the UW Milwaukee campus for the Science Olympiad State Competition, also in March. And what is your desire regarding that? And that one's right at the end of the month.
Move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
And Mark?
Any questions or comments about that one? Seeing none, we'll take a roll.
Dr. Schulman?
Yes.
Ms. Gorst?
Yes.
Mrs. Steiner?
Yes.
Mr. Yekitis?
Yes.
Mr. Neve?
Yes.
Mrs. Bohan?
Yes.
Mr. Conrady?
Yes.
The next one is approval of travel to Seattle, Washington for the American Society of Biochemistry and Molecular Biology Research Conference, and that is over the spring break. So I believe the 24th of this month through the 25th, or through the 27th. So it's a long weekend. What is your desire regarding that?
Move to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments about the trip to Seattle?
Yeah, is this, are students involved in this? It doesn't really say, this is approved for travel. The other ones are obvious, like FFA. Oh, okay.
Right. So these are
Okay, all right.
these are students who have been working with a mentor
Gotcha, thank you.
regarding gene expression leads to loss of motor neuron development. It's a project they've been working on.
Okay, I didn't see the side file on that thing.
So they've done computer modeling, 3D.
This is happening in like a week or two. Is this work, did we have to wait to see who was actually going before we saw it? Okay. Or just need for this. I'm sure everything is approved.
Okay. Then we will go ahead and take a vote.
Ms. Gorst?
Yes.
Mrs. Steiner?
Yes.
Mr. Yekitis?
Yes.
Mr. Neve?
Yes.
Mrs. Bohan?
Yes.
Mr. Conrady?
Yes.
Dr. Schulman?
Yes.
Okay. The next three are all in April, and the first of those is approval of travel to Green Bay for FBLA Future Business Leaders of America competition, and that would be April 16th through the 18th. What is your desire?
Move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll take a roll.
Mrs. Steiner?
Yes.
Mr. Yekitis?
Yes.
Mr. Neve?
Yes.
Mrs. Bohan?
Yes.
Mr. Conrady?
Yes.
Dr. Schulman?
Yes.
Ms. Gorst?
Yes.
And the next one is for April 3rd through the 5th, and that is travel to Wisconsin Dells for the FCC LA State Leadership Conference, which is family, career, and community leaders of America, I believe.
Move to approve. That's what you're asking for.
We have first and a second. Okay. I have Mark as a first, Daley as a second.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, thank you. And any questions or comments about that one? Then we'll go ahead and take the roll.
Mr. Yekitis?
Yes.
Mr. Neve?
Yes.
Mrs. Bohan?
Yes.
Mr. Conrady?
Yes.
Dr. Schulman?
Yes.
Ms. Gorst?
Yes.
Mrs. Steiner?
Yes.
And the last one is approval of travel to Wisconsin Dells for the HOSA State Leadership Conference, which would be April 2nd through the 4th. And those are health occupation students of America or future health professionals, I believe. So what is your desire regarding that?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions?
I have a comment. The reason that we have so many of these travel requests right now is these are annual situations that come up. It's like state tournaments for a lot of these groups. This is the time of year when just a lot of these conferences and also, I guess you would call them leadership conferences and competitions take place. So this is not unusual for the number of requests that we have right now. This happens annually, and this is just the time of year when all of these groups have these meetings.
Yes. Okay, anything else before we vote? Then we'll go ahead and take that.
Mr. Neve?
Yes.
Mrs. Bohan?
Yes.
Mr. Conrady?
Yes.
Dr. Schulman?
Yes.
Ms. Gorst?
Yes.
Mrs. Steiner?
Yes.
Mr. Yekitis?
Yes.
At this point, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And do we have a second?
Sam, second.
Who was first? Who made the
Kathy.
motion? Okay.
Okay. And we'll go ahead and take.
All right, Mrs. Bohan?
Yes.
Mr. Conrady?
Yes.
Dr. Schulman?
Yes.
Ms. Gorst?
Yes.
Mrs. Steiner?
Yes.
Mr. Yekitis?
Yes.
Mr. Neve?
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.